Welcome to the Embrace the Face podcast, where we celebrate all things weird and wonderful. I'm Allie Anderson, your host, here to bring you high vibe content and interviews for your highest good in self-healing and ascension. May these episodes bring you all you need in each now, and I thank you for listening, as always. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to another episode of Embrace the Face. I am so excited to have Miss Bria Johnson here. Hello, Bria. Thank you for being here.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. So I met Bria at Boss Babes Who Brunch, Long Island, through Jess Maloney, through one of her fabulous brunches. And you did a speech. So first of all, I'm going to read your brief bio because you are iconic all around and I love your. So Bria Johnson is the Chief Style Strategist and founder of I.C.O.N.I C With Style, a personal styling consultancy helping women align their wardrobe with their evolving identity. With nearly 2 decades, you look like a baby, of combined leadership and image consulting experience, she aligns identity, image, and influence, transforming style into a strategic asset. Bria is known for identifying the embodiment gap, the disconnect between a woman's internal evolution and the story her current image tells, and for guiding women to close that gap through intentional, elevated style that supports how she leads, lives, and shows up. And I love this so much. I have chills. I had a total fashion faux pas at the event that I heard you speak at, so I learned life lessons. I gained so much wisdom and knowledge from you. And just talking about it gives me chills because, one, you are a woman who has followed her heart and you know what you're about. You are so empowered, your energy, your aura, like you know who you are and you bring it to the table. And I love that so much. So please share the stage. The stage is yours. And please go ahead and just share your story. And I would love to hear it. Thank you for being here.
You know what? I love it. I don't even know how I can follow up after an introduction like that. I appreciate it. And you know, what I also appreciate too, hopefully, is you had shared with me, like, I learned so much. I had this little, mishap, with my wardrobe that day. And I'm like, it is okay. Like, the job here for me is never to judge. And I know sometimes people get intimidated, like, stylist, I don't know what to wear. Oh my God, how do I show up? And my message, hopefully, what shined through when you heard me speak at the Boss Babe brunch was really it's all about alignment, right? Some days it matters, what environment you're going into, who you are internally, and my job is really to mirror those two things and not change who anyone is. And I think that really goes back to connecting this to my story and kind of how I followed my heart. It's when you hear follow your heart, right? I want people to also realize too, I was following it, but also shying away from it at the same time because when you know how you're raised, depending on your family, there's a path I feel like people have for you, and you think your life is going to look one way. But what really followed my heart meant was like it was always there. And I'm like, why am I shying away from this when this is just my natural gift? And so when I think about where it all started, and I didn't really share this too much at the Boss Babe brunch, but it did start with my nana, who is very much still alive, still fabulous. And we did not grow up with a lot of money, but one thing my nana made sure was we always looked polished, put together. And her message to me was, every time you go into new spaces or anywhere where you want to command respect of the people in the room, you don't have to dress like your circumstances, you dress as your potential. And so that lesson has really been instilled in me ever since I was a little bit girl. And now is the foundation of I.C.O.N.I C With Style, which is an acronym, by the way, for I can overcome new issues and challenges with style. And that is how I am here today, following my heart and affirming what I've been taught all those years ago.
I love it. I love it so much. Nanas always have the best influence, right?
They do. They really do.
And she's still kicking. I love that so much. And does she dress like still to the nines everywhere?
Oh my goodness. She is, we had for Mother's Day, we had went to a brunch, her and my sisters and I, and the feedback was like, this is the most, kind of stylish group that walked in here. So I'm like, it is true. My grandmother is still well in presenting herself like she wants people to respect her no matter what her age is. She has all the life experience. She still shows up in a way that she still commands respect in a room. Yeah, for
Love it.
sure.
Her embodiment. I love that so much.
Yes, absolutely. And of course, my mascara is running, but that's okay.
That issue today too.
Yeah,
You
it
look
happens.
beautiful. It's okay.
Thank
It happens.
you.
So I was talking before recording. I was telling Bria that I've been talking her up, and only because you everything happens for a reason, right? And I feel like now is the season. We just passed Memorial Day, so now we're getting into like the summery warm months, and I feel like everyone's talking about their wardrobe and what
Yeah,
they want to wear. And so in speaking with other women, all different women, I was speaking, one was a nurse, one is an entrepreneur herself in like the financial world, other ones stay at home moms. So, in just talking with these people, everyone wants to feel good. Everyone wants to feel embodied. And all these women are moms. All of them are on the go. They are professionals in their own ways, their own unique ways. So, what are some ways that, like, what are the easiest ways for moms on the go that we can feel our best, even if we're like going to pick up the kids and running errands? Because my go to sometimes is simply just like leggings, a tank top, and my hair up in a messy bun. And I know I can do better, and I know I could feel better doing it.
yeah. Well, I think it's so interesting too, right? Because that's the thing about my my business. It really, what can moms do? What I do when I work with women is really all identity driven. And so what might work for Allison might not work for the nurse that you are necessarily speaking to at the barbecue. And so what I always do with anybody I work with is start with the identity questions of who are you today? What is your lifestyle? Where are the places you need to go? And then that's how we build the comprehensive wardrobe around it. So for me, it's less about the individual outfits and it's about the wardrobe that is going to transition you from going to pick up the kids in school and then you have a business meeting and then you have somewhere else to go. And so I really believe it is more identity driven than anything else. And I can give you an example of just myself, right? So like a lot of people, what they expect me to say is, what if I have a business meeting? What is going to make you feel the most powerful? People want me to say a blazer. Well, that is never the answer that I'm just going to give an individual person because it is so unique. And so like for example today I feel very powerful on this conversation, very ready for it, and I'm in linen, which we know is a laid back lax kind of fabric. However, it is a dress which makes me feel my most powerful, the color itself speaking about the energy that I'm exuding. And so it really does come down to who are you independently versus a one size kind of fits all. And let me just add on to that, that's why I tell people you don't come to me for cute outfits. You can look on Pinterest for a cute outfit, but have you ever tried on something from online and then you put it on and you like, this does not look cute on me? It is because there's not a one size fit all for each person. It is really identity driven. And that's where my work really starts.
I love it. You get to the energy of it, which is my world. Everything is energy. That's all there is to it, per Albert Einstein. So, also, fun fact, I don't know if you know this. I feel like you know this. Linen is of the highest frequency material. So, when you wear linen, your core frequency is already elevated.
I am learning something new. I did not know that.
Yes. So,
Yes, I learned
cotton
all
is up
today.
there, but linen is like way up there in high frequency. And the colors, the bright colors. So, Bria has yellow on.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Yes.
makes you higher vibe. And in ancient Chinese medicine, wearing bright colors helps to raise your energy, helps to raise your frequency too. So,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Colors do have energy, meaning, and it's important where you strategically place them too, depending on like what setting you're in. So for example, like me with the yellow, just like I know that I'm face up, but you want people to be engaged in this conversation. So naturally, when I'm putting on this golden yellow, it is to exude that energy to, I want you to be bubbly, I want you to smile, I want you to feel that aura. And so when people visually see this, they'll feel that. But also, it reinforces to myself that same messaging. and allows me to show up that way on this call. So yeah, I'm huge on the color theory as well too.
I love that. Okay, so let me ask you then. So, in the chakras, are you familiar with the chakras?
Not in depth, but I do know about them. So, but I'm
Okay.
sure you'll teach me something.
So, yeah, so as soon as you said yellow, making you feel bubbly, that's our self confidence. Yellow is our solar plexus chakra. So, that's where we have our motivation and our self confidence and that ability to just come across as that embodied version of who you are. So, let me ask you, would a green color, like green, so green is for the heart chakras, love. A light blue is for like vocal and being able to communicate and express. Then you have
Hmm.
the orange, which I'm like going in a totally different order, but you have orange, which is your sacral chakra, so that's zest for life, sensuality, sexuality. Red is your root chakra, which is being grounded, feeling like safe in your body. And then your third eye chakra is indigo, like a sapphire indigo color. That's connection, communication, intuition, like communicating really with your highest self. And then connecting through the crown chakra, the purple chakra, which is connection, God, source, universe, spirit, whatever you believe in, whatever your power is. So I'm wondering if any of those resonated on like a color and an energy frequency.
Well, I think, I mean, honestly, the yellow one for what you said for me the most, but I think it depends too because some of the people I work with don't like yellow. So,
Okay.
you
Makes
know,
sense.
how do you still feel powerful? And if you like a different color. So it's less about the specific color and it is about how you strategically use it. And once you decide what you decide to emphasize and not emphasize, right? And so I think that, and also again, what is the context of the environment that you are in? Because colors have different meaning depending on what is the environment. Are you in a business meeting? You know, for example, right? At a funeral, people tend to wear black because of grieving. And so I think there's many, it's so nuanced when you're deciding what someone's wardrobe needs to be. And it's less about the color itself. And again, how is it strategically placed? And again, what are the rooms you're going to be in and what you're trying to command? Because again, like for yellow, for me, everybody doesn't like yellows, but there are still ways you show up and can communicate that you feel powerful. You can communicate energy through different colors, all depending on how things are strategic and placed on your body.
I love it. That's so cool.
Yes.
How about accessories, accessorizing?
I am definitely a fan of accessories, and accessories meaning a lot of things, right? Let it be a pair of earrings, let it be a scarf, let it be a bag. A shoe to me is an accessory. And for accessories, they complete an outfit, and to me, what they subtly do is communicate attention to detail because it shows that you have completeness of an idea. And so that's why I do, anytime I dress people, find out which accessories they're going to feel more comfortable with, but also after they tell me who they are in the rooms they're trying to be in, I also suggest, I believe these type of accessories will communicate the message you're trying to get across. And so yes, definitely a fan of accessories, and they complete an outfit.
I love it. So what are the different ranges of females that like their professions? What types of
Yeah, so most of the women I work with are going through some type of transition. Let it be they are scaling a business, they are a C-suite individual. And I also do support women through more personal evolutions too. Let that be, you know, a recent divorce or even after a transition coming back into the workplace after having children. And so I would say the range of professions definitely ranges, but it is more of people who are leading teams. Their presence matters when they walk in the room before they even speak. And also, they're going through a specific transition where they're like, people are responding to me as the older version of myself, but I'm a completely new individual. And so the language that I use to communicate that new identity is image. And so it's really, they're going through that season of transition and reinvention of themselves.
I think that's so important because we're always evolving. always evolving as humans. And I was telling you before recording too, I spent this weekend like really purging of things.
Yeah,
And when we purge, when we rid of the old, not only are we decluttering the mind, but we're also like making room for that new
for the
identity.
new.
New.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. I
And
say the same.
I think a lot of women, do you find, I mean, women coming to you, I'm sure, are committed and they're ready for this change. But I hear from, oh, I feel so guilty buying things for myself. And, you know, I can't spend the money on myself. What are some like quick, easy, affordable ways to transition, I guess?
Yeah, I actually go through some. There are people who are just ready, like, okay, I'm ready for the completely new me. And then some still that hold on to this piece of clothing for whatever the reason may be, or this specific part of their style that is harder to let go. And again, they're both valid, right? Because people are, when they're transitioning into that new identity, some think like, oh, that old identity goes away. It's like, no, that person made you who you are today. And but there is like this grieving kind of process sometimes for, those slower transitions. And it's like with women who need a slower process, you integrate things slowly versus just all at once. Some people can handle the quick turnaround change, and then some just need more time to really have that new visual identity be integrated into their lives.
I love that. No pressure.
Yeah.
You're just
Yeah,
like,
I mean, absolutely. And I have to work with both, right? Like some is like, okay, let's talk about what this looks like over a certain time frame to where you feel fully integrated into who you are. And then some again are just like, I'm ready, completely purge, and then they're ready just to start anew. And so I really have to, again, and that's why it's so nuanced and dependent on the person, because every single woman is not the same.
yeah, very much
Yeah,
so. Perception is everything. It's what makes you feel good, right?
it is. I mean, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, do you go into their home? Like, do you get like personal and
So I actually have two services where I work with individuals. One is virtual, and then the other is in person. And that in person one is more of a, you need a new codified image, and it's a deeper process that they have to go through. And so for the virtual service, when I work with women, is more, there's a few gaps in your wardrobe and you just want something more efficient and immediately elevated. But that in person one is definitely deeper. I'm in the home with you to be there. Yeah.
yeah, you're a light worker, like a healer, and it's I feel like you help people with like deep emotional like attachment and release and cutting cords and like you do your own type of energy work and I think it's so beautiful. I love that.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and yeah, I have to, right? Some pieces are emotional, like, and again, people think I have it all together because I'm a stylist. There are some things that are just emotional that I still have a hard time letting go for. I will not tell you how many pairs of shoes I have on this call, but I have a lot of shoes. Part of that is growing up, I couldn't afford a lot of shoes,
Hmm.
and also influence from my grandmother who has a lot of shoes. And so it's kind of like that emotional attachment for me to her, and then also my upbringing. So even as a stylist, because I really do believe less is more, I still go through my own emotional process. And I think when people see that the work that I'm doing with them, I go through myself, it makes they relate to me more and see that I really understand where they're coming from. And I can help people either release or decide if they need to keep an item for their, just for their well being in general. Because some things get passed down from generations. I'm not going to tell you to let that go, right? That's something that's meaningful to you. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love it. Utilizing intuition and discernment and
Yes.
all the things. I love it. I actually, so I'm somebody who went from like three buckets of shoes down to one. So I get it.
Yes.
Yeah. Like
Yes.
there's something about shoes for me. And you said about your grandmother again. So I have my grandmother's clothes when she passed and we went through her closet.
Mm,
And there are things that I'm like, I know that I could do something with this, whether repurpose it into something
yeah,
else, but
absolutely.
I can't let go of that. And other things, like there are a few things too. But I think what you said is so important, and I think it's for anybody, especially in this entrepreneurship world of like doing your own thing. Like when you show people that you are also doing the work, that
Yes,
you're incorporating this into your life too, that's alignment right there, because that means you're doing exactly what your soul is meant to be doing. And you are,
absolutely.
yeah, so you're not, and when you're doing it for others, you're also helping yourself. You're healing yourself.
I mean, absolutely. And that's why, again, so talk about follow your heart and soul call to this work. Like, I've always, before I even actually launched and founded I.C.O.N.I.C, I was always supporting people with their wardrobe and making sure that they showed up how they needed to. Let it be they had a presentation, let it be they had an interview. And I was just naturally doing that, at no cost, because that was who I was at my core. And again, those moments helped me realize that I.C.O.N.I.C is what I needed to do. So to your point about helping others, it really does help you and feed your soul, which I think is so important.
Oh yeah, I have a sign
Yeah.
that says if it doesn't feed your soul, let it go.
Yes.
Yeah, something I love. So what did you do? Was that always something you went into? Did you go to like a fashion school? Did you work in corporate and totally segue?
Yes, this is oh, I love this. So actually, I did kind of like the traditional like path, right? So it's kind of twofold. It's parallel, right? So I always had this. I am supporting people with their wardrobe, and I found different ways to do that. I was just casually doing it. And then I also signed up for a company called Cabby. It's a direct selling company, and they sell clothing. And I was supporting women with clothes with the Cabby collection, and I really enjoyed that. But it was also limiting too, right? Because as a stylist and with my background, there were clothes that I knew will fit better or be better purpose for what a woman is looking for. And so taking all of that experience, not only from my cabbie experience, but also I did have corporate experience. My background is in recruitment. So I naturally had to, support people with perception, first impressions. What is the message that you're sending? And so marrying my corporate experience with my love of supporting people with their wardrobe became case studies of what became a system at I.C.O.N.I.C with Style. But I would say the first kind of interaction I had with like being, I would say, image consultant, which is brought about perception and what you're presenting to the world and what you're communicating to yourself, is through my experience with pageants, which I know I talked about at the Boss Bay brunch experience, because that is truly an environment where you get rated and you don't say anything. And they're rating you based off of visual, because we're visual human beings. And that was really my first kind of interaction of what who knew that it was going to help support me when I founded my business, with how people perceive you and the messages that you send even before you speak. And I was in beauty pageants for nearly 18 years. And so that really also helped shape how I support women as an image consultant.
I totally forgot about that. That's so
Yeah.
true. I remember that part of yours. So, and that's such a beautiful thing that you can come out with that, because a lot of people don't come out with that perception. They feel beat down, they feel judged, they feel ridiculed, they feel not enough. And you take
Yeah.
that and you use it as a power, like a superpower.
Absolutely. And I think, when you're when and to be, of course, to be vulnerable. When I was younger, you do get that because you're trying to figure out what, what does this all mean. My parents put me in my first pageant. I was 2 years old, and it was by accident. They had me, or I was one. I was in the mall. They were walking by this, I guess they were a stage, and they said, "You should put your baby in this," and I won. And then my nana, she of course blew it up and took it like full throttle. We're a pageant girl now. But no, it really I learned all about perception. It was all about perception. It was all about what visually are you communicating. And I learned so much from that experience. And it was less, in my opinion, about judging. It was more about the this is real life, because when you walk into a space, people are assessing you. And so, how can you leverage that to your advantage? And again, like you said, not be so, oh my God, people are judging me. It's like we all have we have visual, we're visual beings, right? And so, we're making those assessments based on what we see.
Yeah, it's a matter of how self-aware we of our thoughts, of if we're judging others. And
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I tell people, your image is saying something. Regardless if you want to own it or not own it, it is. And so for me, I would rather make sure I is saying the right thing when I'm showing up in front of people that I intend to communicate. And I think when people take that lens, it's like, okay, well, I do care about things in my work life, in my personal life, in my charitable life. And so let me make sure people are receiving my message, and let me make sure my image is not working against that message that I want to communicate.
that is so powerful right there. And you do just that. You come across as just like this confident, embodied woman who can help empower other women. How did you come up with the acronym? Did it just come to you, the iconic?
It is so, you know what? It's so funny how what I did was think about it. It was twofold. I was like, okay, women should feel iconic, period. That was just like, I knew that was the thought. Like when I thought about what do women want to feel that I work with through transition, they want to feel iconic, whatever that means to you, but that's how they want to feel. And then thinking about the messaging of when I was raised, about any time I came upon a new challenge, what transitioned with me was not only my internal identity, but it was the wardrobe. And so when I thought about the word iconic and that messaging, that's how it formulated to, I can overcome new issues and challenges. And it would click. It was like this light bulb moment. And
When
I
you
just,
when you said it
yeah,
again, I got full chills. Like you're exactly where you should be. And I keep seeing, and this is like my psychicness coming through, that TV show and like the show What Not to Wear,
yeah.
like completely overhauling. And either you need to have a show or you're going somewhere, or you're just literally like that complete transformation. Like you are the alchemist of fashion, like the darkness, the light.
I receive all of that. And I think, it's so funny that you gave that and talk about, psychic, because this goes back to how deep my work is and how seriously I take it. A lot of things a lot of things, some women I see, are battling that imposter syndrome, right? Like they already have the accolades, they have the experience, but for some reason they're having a hard time seeing themselves as the version that they're walking into. Well, that's the great thing about the wardrobe, because it is truly the first piece of visible evidence that you are who you say you are. And so, going back to what you speak for me and what I see in my future, and the acronym, I can overcome new issues and challenges with style, that style reinforces that affirmation that I'm telling myself every single day. And so, I share that because it's not simply just clothes, it is reinforcing that identity and that future self that you're already blooming into.
Oh yeah, body, mind, soul. You're doing the work of a saint
Yeah.
through clothes. No, I love you're. It's just so empowering. I've had chills the whole time. You're just such a light. I love it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. Do you, so any words of wisdom, last words of wisdom that you would give anybody who is interested in doing an overhaul? Besides, I will share all your information if you want to work with Bria. But any free last words of wisdom?
Yes. And so I've been saying it, and I know if people heard me speak before, but it's like really my mantra for women for 2026 is, I've been telling people, your image is telling a story. It doesn't need to tell the version of you that was surviving. It needs to tell the version of who you are today. And that really just goes back to, you are allowed to not only invest in yourself first, but making sure that the rooms you're showing up in and the people that you are connecting with receive you how you deserve to be received in this present moment. And so that is what I want people to walk away and talking about your podcast. Just embrace that new identity that you're in today. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so grateful for you being here. I have no doubt that you are going to enlighten and cheer up so many women. So
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much for having me. It was you made the conversation so easy, like easy, so I appreciate you also inviting me on here and allowing me to share a little bit more about myself and Iconic and my Nana as well too.
Of course. Yes. Thank you, Nana, for your inspiration. Thank you to all grandmothers all across the universe
Yes,
for inspiring us to just
so
be
important.
ourselves. So thank
Yes.
you, everyone, for tuning in. Peace out and God bless.